Happy Friday everyone, I'm Julian and this is Libby and we are from BoxedMeeples. So today for Featured Game Friday we are talking about Tidal Blades Banner Festival, a fantastic new game from Lucky Duck Games and Druid City Games.
We are indeed, and what caught my eye particularly to it first is that we have Tidal Blades Heroes of the Reef, which is sort of a worker placement, you're sort of deck building, you're training your guys to go out and fight the monsters on the reef. And this is a completely different game, utterly different, but the same universe, the same gorgeous artwork, the same characters you'll see in there. But yeah, totally different game. It's sort of a card-based game. I'd say almost trick-taking, but you don't always want to win the tricks. So, you know, sometimes you're going to get benefits basically for winning them, you're going to get benefits for losing the tricks, and you're also going to get benefits for the middle ground. And you're wanting to do the variety of those different things because they're giving you different things. So say if you just won the tricks, then you would basically be able to sort of upgrade your deck of points that you're going to get towards the end of the game. When you middle ground, you get to lay your banners down. Banner Festival. And at the end of each day, you're going to get points for those. So you need to make sure you've got those rounded up, and you also want to lose some of the tricks because you then get to use the special bonus actions on the bottom of the card. And particularly if that's a high numbered card and you've lost the trick with it, then that's going to give you some real good bonuses, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a real interesting dynamic that goes on here because often in these kind of games you're deliberately trying to win. That's all you want to do. But in this, it doesn't really feel like there's a bad play you can do. Often it may not be what you want to do, but it is often, you know, a good result regardless. And what works really well in this game is the evolution of the kind of what's a good hand. As the gate moves around the board, what the trump card is changes.
Yeah, and I find that really interesting, this changing trump. Because you don't always see that in those sort of more traditional trick-taking things. It's quite often, you know, spades are trumps and things like that. And your hand gets better and worse depending on where you are. So it's not a case of, oh, I look at my hand at the start and think, oh, what am I going to do with this? Because at some point, you know, maybe the following turn it's all of a sudden an amazing hand, and then all of a sudden it's weak again, and you're manipulating the game in order to keep it strong if you want it strong. And
there's actually a certain benefit to losing a turn because that dictates where the gate is going to be on the board. And if you look at your hand and you're like, oh, I've got a lot of a certain colour, for example, you're going to want to control the gate to be in that colour so you can then play those trump cards. And that's interesting because where the gate is positioned means that's where you're going to place the banners, and you do those by obviously getting in the middle of the ground. And at the end of each round, there's 3 rounds in the game. Positions of those banners equate to scorings. You're getting scorings by doing the laps, by winning the high cards. You're getting points from the position of the banners by getting the middle ground, and you're also getting points by, as Libby was saying, playing, you know, cards and that lose. Certainly, the highest one of those will get you 5 points if you play and then lose. So, yeah, as we said, there's no real kind of bad play about this.
No, there isn't at all. And lots of the plays that you're doing are also giving you little bundles of fruit from the middle of the ground there. And when the fruit runs out, I find this a really interesting mechanism as well. There's a limited number in there, and each time it runs out, you basically have kind of like a harvest festival kind of thing. And then whoever has the most fruit is then going to also score points, and that can happen a varying number of times depending on the game. You might have a lot of harvesting because loads of people are going out there and getting the fruit in one game and not very many in another. So it adds that little bit of a question mark in terms of scoring, which is fab.
Now, I've always been a bit wary about these kind of trick-taking games because we play a lot of games with just 2 of us, and we have seen examples of that being done really well in the past.
Yeah.
But this one is really great because it has a very simple, basically a phantom kind of third player, and the way that works is intriguing because we all share a deck. So we all know that there's one of each card of each suit in this deck.
Yeah. You
then draw one from the deck and play it face up, and draw one and lay it face down. So you know one of the cards that are going to be involved for that particular turn, but you don't know what the other one is. And that's where the mind games come in, that's where the card counting comes in, because you've got to go, okay, I've seen a lot of orange cards already, so it's unlikely to be an orange card. But then you also have to work out what's your opponent doing. Are they trying to win that one, or are they trying to lose that one? So what card are they going to be playing? And I think that works particularly well with 2.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes that kind of like dummy hand can be a bit of a disappointment in a 2-player game, and I don't think that happens here. It actually adds this sort of excitement and sort of wonder of what is that last card going to be when you flip it over, and kind of it gives you a middling gauge to kind of go for. It adds some dimension for sure to it, and it's not one of those things. When you play a dummy hand, it's kind of like, oh, and we've forgotten the dummy's turn, and now we've got to go back and do it at all. It kind of feels very natural to do this in the setup of every turn. You just flip over the cards and right, this is how we go. So it's not cumbersome, it's not annoying, it doesn't feel like there should be another person at the table particularly.
And I think that's true of the whole game. This isn't a complicated game, but it's a game with kind of a lot of depth. It's a great way of kind of explaining to people how kind of these trick-taking games work. It's a very streamlined kind of rule book which you can explain to people really quickly, and that's useful because I like to use this as it's a very short game. The original game obviously is a big epic game. That's going to be the focus of your your night. This works really well as kind of a starter.
Yeah, you open up into the world and then get going in another game also in that world, and this artwork stands up to playing 2 games of it because it's just so glorious. People are very familiar with that trick-taking concept. A lot of people have played a standard deck of cards in various games, so it doesn't seem so overwhelming for that. It is only a 30-minute game, so it's super quick, super easy to get to the table, and although we enjoy playing it as avid gamers, I would more than happily introduce this game to a lot of our non-gaming friends and family. I think it is quite a welcoming game as well.
Yeah,
it fits in that bracket too.
I don't know what you're thinking. Does it have those squishy fruit? Absolutely, in the Harvest, those fruit are as squishy as they were in the first game, so if that's a reason you want to have this game, go right ahead and get it.
And of course that gives it the green tick from us.
But do let us know in the comments down below if you like the Tidal Blades range, if you played the first one and now you're interested in this one, or perhaps if you've dismissed this one and now are interested again. Do let us know in the comments down below, and if you've got any questions, we'll happily answer them if we can.
Yeah, we do love to hear from you, and of course if you're not already subscribed, please do so. Maybe like the video or follow us on Insta, Twitter, Threads, all of that jazz. And obviously if you're interested in board games like this one, we use our friendly local game store Chaos Cards down here in the southeast of England, but they do also have a website, so if you do order online, we do have a discount code for you in the description which will get you 5% off when you spend over £35 on your first purchase or one purchase with them.
Yeah, so definitely worth checking out. And do let us know if you are interested in this segment. It's obviously new to us, so we're going to focus on one game and talk about it in detail. So do let us know if you'd like to kind of like this format.
And apologies if there's been any weird sounds throughout this video. We have a foster pup with us who is merrily trying to destroy a toy lion.
Yeah, he's dead. But as always, thank you so much for watching.
Bye!